Teflon TV. Teflon TV. What up, my people? You know who it is. It's the Don. Tony Teflon. House Teflon. We pull the string. It's the Don. Tony Teflon. House Teflon. We pull the string. What up, my people? And you already know who it is. It's the Don, Tony Teflon, House Teflon. And we on Teflon TV. And this is part 2 of the Children of the Forest. People have asked for it, and I am back at you with it. So here we go. And as I said in part 1, I focus mostly on the children themselves, how they worship the demon tree and do sacrifices to the demon tree, and how they are not as cute and cuddly as people want them to believe, like there's some type of Ewok, and how they're more like a gremlin, how they have sinister eyes, how they have claws, how they have all these things, and how they have fought every race on this planet that they have come across of, whether it's the first men or the giants. They have fought them and tried to defeat them, and when they have not been able to defeat them, they have made a truce just to benefit themselves. So that is what I have said. So now we are going to look, why is this man Bloodraven, Brandon Rivers, running with them? What is he up to? Is he trying to save the realm like they say he is? Is that what he is really after? Is that what it is? We shall find out and take a listen. Listen to me as I tell you about this man and what I have picked up from reading all the books about him. Now, Lord Brynden Rivers, a.k.a. Bloodraven, was a legitimized great bastard of Aegon IV and his sixth mistress, Melissa Blackwood. He was born with a wine-stained birthmark on the right side of his face that ran from his cheek down his throat that looked like a raven, giving him his name. He is the half-brother of Aegon Bittersteel Rivers. They were both in love with Sierra Seastar, another bastard of Aegon, which led to more hatred between the two. Now, his personal sigil is a white dragon with red eyes breathing red flame on the black field. Now, a white dragon could be, now since it has red flame, we cannot say it's an ice dragon. I would like to say it was an ice dragon, but we cannot say that because it has red flame. And we know ice dragons not shooting red flame. Now, that is his personal sigil. Now, while on his mother's side, the sigil is a flock of ravens on a scarlet background surrounding a dead werewood on black. And as we know at this time, the words have never been presented in the books. Now, I think that is pretty significant because that's basically what Bloodraven is right now. He's a dead werewood tree with a bunch of ravens all over. So I think that since that particular sigil of his has come true, it is possible that the other sigil now may come true. Now, since this really isn't a Bloodraven video, I won't be giving you the full total history of Bloodraven. I'm just going to touch on the parts that connect him, that I think, to the Children of the Forest. Maybe later, maybe I won't have to do a full Bloodraven video. Maybe it's just enough that you would get enough from it that you don't need that. But if not, we shall do a full Bloodraven video if there's anything I miss. Now, Brynden, he was a shade under 6 feet tall, and he was very thin, considered gaunt. And he had a sinister reputation as a sorcerer and a spy master. Now, he wore the colors of blood and smoke, with the smoke being the dark gray that was streaked with black. Now, because his skin was so sensitive to light, he usually had his hoodie up all the time. Now, he was known as an expert bowman, and he had a group of archers, and they were called the Raven's Teeth. Now, Brynden lost an eye during the first Blackfire Rebellion, and he rarely covered the socket, and he didn't really care about that with a patch, preferring just to have this scar displayed with an empty socket so everyone could see it. Now, he kind of put his white hair in front of his eye to try to cover it up. So he was a little bit cautious about it, occupied about it. He didn't really care too much about it, but a little bit, because he had he didn't just have it wide open. He tried to put his hair down over it. Now, it was also rumored that he was a sorcerer all right, and that he ruled the kingdom with spies and spells. Now, a popular riddle was asked back in the day was, how many eyes does Lord Bloodraven have? 1,000 eyes and one. They also made a song about him called 1,000 Eyes and One. So that is a little bit of his history. Now, to me, there are a couple of important notes we can take from that history. I'll call them the Teflon notes. Now, the notes I took from that, me personally, number one is he's known as a sorcerer. Now, we know he has a skin-changing ability. We see this with the Ravens, especially Mormont's Raven. You know what I mean? So we know he has that. We know he has these green dreams because he comes to Bran as the Crow, and he also is the one who contacts Jojen and has him bring Bran to him. So we know he can do that. But to me, that really isn't what I think the Smoke folk mean when they mean sorcery. I think when they mean sorcery, they mean more dark magic, more type of a blood magic. And we know in blood magic, you must pay for it with life. So glamoring is a form of this magic. So do we see a part where Bloodraven does this glamoring or anything? Yes, we do. Now, the person who notices this is Sir Duncan the Tall. Now, Bloodraven is friends with a man named Sir Plum, and at this particular time, Sir Plum is walking towards Sir Duncan the Tall, and the quote goes, "Plum's cloak was as purple as his name, though frayed about the edges and badly dyed. A moonstone brooch, big as a hen's egg, fastened it to its shoulder." Now, we know from Melisandre that a jewel or a ruby is used to make a glamour. And here we are pointed towards Sir Plum's moonstone brooch, which they say is as big as a hen's egg. Now, the next quote we still see is Duncan watching Plum. Now, this is Sir Duncan watching Plum. Duncan whirled through the rain. All he could make out was a hooded shape, single and a single pale white eye. It was only when the man came forward and that the shadowed face beneath the cowl took on the familiar features of Sir Maynard Plum, the pale eye no more than a moonstone brooch that was pinned to his shoulder on his cloak. So we see right here that this is Bloodraven glamored as Plum, because we know that they have the single eye reference, we have the hood reference, all right? And then when he gets close, the single eye, it turns to the brooch, which we know is the glamour. So that is what we have seen. So this is what I take from his sorcery. He is what I would call a Doctor Strange type sorcerer. He is a sorcerer supreme. He is the one who basically has the power of the old gods, and he has the power of blood magic. Not many people have that. So he has to be some type of sorcerer supreme. Or he is a worshiper on the low of R'hllor. Or at some point he must have studied it. So if we agree on that he has either studied some type of blood magic or a worshiper of R'hllor, had to be one of the two because of having the blood magic things, right? Something around there. Then he is true that he must know of the Azor Ahai prophecy, right? And the reason why I say that is because of what we read before. This man is motherfucking nosy. He's in everybody's business. The whole time in this fucking book that we see this motherfucker, he's in everybody's business. He's a peeping ass, Tom ass ninja, right? There's no doubt about it. So therefore, being the peeping Tom ass ninja that we know he is, then he must know of Rhaegon Lyanna. And since he has green sight, and he can use the Werewood network, will give him access to that. And we know he's nosy ass. So that is what I take from his ability to use magic and what I think is important from that. Now, number two importance I think of this man is his weapons. What he's rolling with. Now, first he has Dark Sister, and that is a famous Valyrian steel longsword. and is one of two ancestral swords of the House Targaryens. The other one we know was Blackfire. Now, Dark Sister was wielded by at least one woman during its history, and may have been forged for a woman warrior originally, as it is a slender blade designed for a woman's hand. Now, he's not a good swordsman at all, and we know this why. Because he lost the eye to his brother, right, at the first Blackfire Rebellion, and then he fronted on a single combat against Daemon the second Blackfire in the second one, and instead of fighting him one-on-one, he arrested him. So we know the man is not good with the swords. So instead, we know his weapon of choice is his weirwood longbow and his arrows and his weirwood arrows. And we know he has led a group of longbow men called the Raven's Teeth. Now, what I take from those two things right there, and my Teflon notes here, is that he holds a sword that is made for a woman. Now, could it be Dany? Could it be Arya? Now, to me, I lean towards Dany, which is one of the reasons why I believe Jon is Azor Ahai, because I believe Dark Sister is the sword for Dany, and Dark Sister is not the sword for Azor Ahai. Now, we know from the weirwood bow, with his weirwood longbow and arrows, it shows me that he knows and has the tools to kill a dragon. And especially that it's a longbow, not a regular bow, because obviously dragons fly, and you have to be able to reach them with the weirwood arrows. So that is what I take from his weaponry. Next thing I take from his history is that he has been in every Blackfire Rebellion. Every one of them. And if Aegon is a Blackfire, and as nosy as he is, right? You must know that he knows this. And he would want to prevent it, because this has been what he's done his whole life. And this would probably be, since Aegon would be the last of the female line, the final Blackfire fight. So he would want to be a part of that again, no doubt, and would give him reason to hang on. Like, I've heard stories of old men who have worked 80 years and retired and then died a month later because they had no reason to hold on. This could be one of his reasons to hold on. And we know that he got shitted on, right? He got shitted on for protecting the realm over his honor. Now, during the Battle of the Redgrass Field, his men rained arrows down on Daemon and his twin sons, killing them all. And after that, the people called Bloodraven the kinslayer for it. All right, blame for that. He was hand for King Aerys' successor, his brother Maegor I. And after Maegor's death in 233 AC, brynden, as hand of the king, as he's supposed to, called the Great Council in King's Landing to discuss the disputed matters of succession. Now, Aenys Blackfire wanted to peacefully participate in the Great Council, and Bloodraven said it's cool for him to do it, and gave him safe reach to King's Landing from Tyros. But once Aenys arrived in the capital, he was arrested by the Gold Cloaks and then his head chopped off in the Red Keep. Now, the Great Council chose Maegor's son after that, King Aegon V Targaryen, whose first act as king was to arrest Bloodraven for the murder of Aenys, ironically, right? But Maester Aemon says that brynden was imprisoned in the red cells of the Black Keep, the Red Keep's black cells, the worst place to put him. That's where they put this man. After that, Aegon offered him the option of taking the black instead of death, and brynden accepted. Now, his brother Bittersteel escaped from the war when he was en route to the war. So we could believe that since this had happened before, that he would possibly do the same thing if he wanted to. But he did not do that. He just became Lord Commander, and then after that, he just disappeared. And we know where he wound up. It was inside of a tree. Now, here's a question for Tony Teflon. Question. Why would he have Dark Sister if he was in the black cells? And that is a good question. Now, since to me there is no mention of anyone having that sword since she had it, I don't think they found it on him. Because if they did, I think you would hear about Aegon or Sir Duncan Atoll or someone else having the sword. Since there is no mention of anyone having the sword since him, I think they did not find the sword on him when he was arrested. And this is the reason why. Now, when Melisandre reads the flames, the first thing she looks for is danger to herself. So since he has the similar abilities, not the same abilities, maybe to read the flames, you must have known that he had done that for himself, and that he must have known his fate, that he was going to be arrested and he would be sent to the wall. So it would be easy for him to stash the sword. He obviously had many spies, and anyone, even with Aemon, was down with him. So Aemon could have smuggled the sword and got on en route and got the sword up there. And if he held the sword as Lord Commander in the realm, when he was a Lord Commander, the realm couldn't touch him anymore because he's against the kings. And at that time, it seemed that the Night's Watch seemed to be more respected, and they had a stronger force. And since he just disappeared, and we have to think he planned it, he would have had to make it look like it was a regular day, not to arouse any type of suspicion. So I would think that he would have had his regular gear on, which would mean he would have his regular sword rolling with him, right? And then he would just go and he disappear. And that's it. So he would have to have his regular shit. So that's why I think he would have the sword on him. So we know he's in a tree. And what he's hanging on for. Do we believe that it is the realm? I say no. As I said before, his reasons are self-serving. As I said, there has been one consistent thing in his life, and that is defeating the Blackfires. And I believe he is there to stop Aegon. And I don't know if this means that he wants to remove himself from the tree and place Bran there, sort of the Atlas world stone type thing, trying to hold up the world for him and get him out of there and fight them himself, or if it's just by bestowing knowledge on someone else so that Blackfire line can finally be dealt with. I don't know. That is my opinion, and that is all of my stuff. Now, the next part I am going to get into is I had thought about this and came up with halfway, but then I have went online and I've seen some other things, and it has put the whole thing together for me. So I am not saying that I made this up. This is a popular theory, this next part that I'm saying. So please do not try to comment to me thinking that I am saying that I made this up. I know it's a popular theory. As I said, I had thought of half of it, went online, seen that other people had figured out the whole thing shebang. So this is my take on that. So the other thing I can see, and the only reason I could see that it is for Bloodraven, what he's up to, is from what the text has shown, is his love for this Sierra Seastone. So who is she? And since there isn't much about her, and George R. Martin likes to say in his book, Blood Always Tells, I think we must look at her parents to find out who she is. Now, she is the daughter of Aegon IV and Lady Serene of Lies. Now, Lady Serene was the last daughter of the ancient line of Valyrian nobility. She was hated and disliked by Aegon's inside men, and she was said to thought to be cold, heartless. It was also rumored that she was much older than the king, and that she was practicing dark arts, helping her retain her beauty and youth. Yet, she was still known as the hottest one of his side pieces. Now, she died giving birth, as so many of these women do when they give birth to Targaryen children for some reason, to Sierra. And Sierra means star of the sea. Now, so we know her mother practiced blood magic, and it said that she practiced blood magic and got into things that her mother got into as she got older, and glamoring her mom practiced. Now, this is something that Bloodraven got into. Now, did she turn him onto it, or did he turn her onto it? I don't know. I can't tell you that. maybe it's just something they both had in common. We have no idea. Now, we do see other women in the books this present day who are thought to be, at least one other woman, who is thought to be older than she is. And that is Melisandre. Now, are there physical similarities between both of them? Sierra. Here is this description, and here's a quote of her description. Sierra was born with one dark blue eye and one bright green one. But the singer said that this flaw only accentuated her loveliness. She was the greatest beauty of her age, a slender and elegant woman, slim of waist, full of breast. Woo! Nice. Now, Melisandre's description. This was by Maester Cracer. It's a quote. Slender she was, graceful, taller than most knights, with full breast and a narrow waist and a heart-shaped face. Men's eyes that once found her did not quickly look away, not even a maester's eyes. Many called her beautiful. So, we got what seems to be the most important things here about these people. Right. They both have a small waist. They both have full breasts. And I do not think I said it for some reason. It must not have been there. But it is also described, let me say, that Shira is described as someone with a heart-face shape. And Melisandre is described as someone with a heart-shaped face. I don't know many people or women in the Song of Ice and Fire besides those two, if there is any, that are described as having a heart-shaped face. So that seems to be dead on to me. Now, Mel's eyes and hair are red. And to me, that would be the easiest thing to glamour. So I don't think that would be a problem. Now, we know Mel has a large ruby on her neck. And Sierra was famous for wearing a heavy silver necklace of emeralds and sapphires. So, to me, we see the same type of necklace around the neck, a glamoring charm. We know that the hair and stuff can be changed. That is not a problem. But in order for us to really, fully, totally get this, we must see what Melisandre sees in the A Dance with Dragons chapter. And that would be the problem here with this whole situation. In the Dance with Dragon chapter, Melisandre sees Bran and Bloodraven. And when she sees them, she sees him as the enemy. She first thinks, is this the enemy? Corpse white. And then the boy with a wolf's face howled next to him. So if this is Sierra Seastar, would she not recognize Bloodraven? Or is he so decayed that she just does not see him for who he used to be? I can't answer that. There's no way to answer that question. But we know when Melisandre sees him, she does not recognize him and thinks he is the enemy at that particular time. And then right after that, she starts to bleed. So here's another question. But Tony Teflon, we know Mel had a backstory. She dreams of Lot 7 and being sold into slavery. Now, this is true. And if we go on that, we must say that this is what is to be said. That it is said that she gave her bed to Bloodraven, Sierra Seastar, not her hand. So we must go that it is possible that she does not know Melisandre at this time, who Bloodraven is when she sees him in the flames, because she never met him, because it's possible that he could be her father. If you take the way her description of being taller than most men, Melisandre, and Bloodraven being tall, but not as tall as most men, you could, and her skin being white and Bloodraven's skin being white, plus the heart-shaped face on her mother and her, if you combine them both, you do get a Melisandre. So that is possible that it could be. But to me, I think it's more important that she bleeds. And I believe that whether she is the lover or the daughter of the Bloodraven, I think it is what is important is there that she is the bleeding star, which is heralding the coming of Azor Ahai. Since she is a sea star or a star of the sea, and Melisandre's eyes are called stars in the book over and over again, I have to believe that she herself is the bleeding star that is heralding the coming of Azor Ahai. And at that time in the book, and that's going on, Jon Snow is stabbed up. So to conclude, I think Bloodraven is using the children, myself, and their powers for his own good to defeat the final Blackfire Rebellion and to get to his wife or daughter. Now, that is your choice, whether you want to believe it's his wife or his daughter, or if it's not either or. That is entirely up to you. As I said, it is a theory that is probably as popular as R plus L equals J. And I tend to leave it up to you. I'm not even going to tell you. I put it out there for you. And you could take a, and you decide what you think about it. So finally, on my last video of the Children of the Forest, these sinister bastards, I will tell you about the last person rolling with them, and that is Bran Stark. And we will break down Bran and everything and what I think their plans for Bran is. So until next time, if you like the way I roll, if you like how I do this, subscribe, number one. Thumbs up it and share this video. I need some shares. Shares are very important, people. Thumbs up, shares, but subscribe is the most. Now, there's another YouTuber who does this, and we have caught other ones. We have ran up on them. People who have been thousands ahead of me in subscribers, 3,000 ahead of me, and caught them and passed them. And there's a YouTuber that we're getting close to. I won't say their name, but we're close to him, and I want to pass him. So help me get past him. Let's make this house rise, baby. Let's keep doing what we're doing. Until next time, you know who it is. It's the Don, Tony Teflon, House Teflon, Teflon 316. We pull the strings. Peace! And stay safe. Tony Teflon, Tony Teflon, Tony Teflon, Tony Teflon, Teflon 316. Peace. And I'm out. Stay sexy.